So I didn't know this up until now, but it's obviously highly disturbing. But police in 35 states are allowed to supposedly have sex with people in their custody. To me, that's obviously rape because there's no such thing as people in police custody being able to give consent to any type of sexual encounter with the police. They're the fucking police. They have guns. They have handcuffs. They can shoot you. They can beat you. The power is asymmetrical. The cops have it all. The people in the custody have none. I mean, how just gross and disgusting is that? And this is from the ACLU, and I definitely agree with the sentiment. There's no such thing as consensual sex when a person is in police custody. Agreed. Hence, rape, sexual assault, etc. And then this goes into a case in New York. On the night of September 15, 2017, Edward Martins and Richard Hall, narcotics detectives with the New York Police Department, pulled over an 8-year-old woman and her 2 male friends for being in a park after dark. After finding marijuana in the car's cup holder, they handcuffed the woman and told her friends to leave. The woman says that the detectives then put her in the unmarked police van with the tinted windows and raped her as she cried and repeatedly told them no. Semen collected in a forensic evidence kit matches the DNA of both of them. In November, Martins and Hall resigned from the NYPD. This was back in 2017. In November, Martins and Hall resigned from the NYPD and currently face rape and kidnapping charges. Both plead not guilty. The defense against these allegations is almost as disturbing as the crimes they are accused of. They claim that they had consensual sex with the woman while she was in their custody. Again, there's no such thing as consensual sex between a police officer or police officers in this case and somebody in their custody. People in the custody have no power. The cops do. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. And here's the thing. This defense might actually work because New York State allows it. How disgusting is that? New York is one of 35 states where consent may be used as a defense when a police officer is charged with raping a person in his custody. Get a little familiar here. A BuzzFeed analysis of a Buffalo News database found that 26 out of at least 158 law enforcement officers charged since 2006 with sexual assault, sexual battery, and unlawful sexual contact with a person in custody have been acquitted or had charges dropped against them based on this absurd defense. I mean, how is this a thing? How is this a thing? But unfortunately, the United States is just so fucking ass backwards, and I mean, almost every way. Frankly, it's a failed state. This is what I was pointing to earlier. The defense completely ignores the incredible power police officers have over civilians in general, particularly those in their custody. Agreed. Handcuffed, guns, pepper spray, rubber bullets. It can put you in a cage, literally. That power dynamic makes consent impossible in this circumstance. Anyone in police custody implicitly understands this and knows that not going along with the police officer's wishes could have serious adverse consequences. Indeed, I mean, for fuck's sake, we see during these protests against police brutality, just the violence that police officers all across the United States are willing to inflict on peaceful protesters. No wonder what they'd be willing to do to people in their custody out of the purview of the public. If they say, no, I'm not going to have sex with you, or I'm not going to give you a blowjob, or whatever. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. It's just, again, nuts that we have to have a discussion that cops shouldn't be able to rape people in 35 states in the US, right? That should be, like, off the fucking table like it is in the other 15 states. I'm in Washington State. Thankfully, they don't allow this, but 35 states other do. This kind of sexual abuse by police is not uncommon. A Buffalo News analysis found that an officer is accused of sexual misconduct every 5 days. I wonder if that's just in Buffalo. I mean, that's, if you extrapolate that, if it is just Buffalo, I mean, probably similar to police departments all across the United States. So 20% likely, somewhere around then, maybe higher, maybe less. 20%, or an officer is accused of sexual misconduct every 5 days. That's nuts. Another study discovered that 40% of young women in New York reported being sexually harassed by the police. It's almost half of women in New York have said that they have been sexually harassed by the police. And you wonder why they think they can get away with it, because they largely have. And it's disgusting. It needs to stop. It needs to never happen. And we need to make sure it doesn't keep happening in the future. I mean, Christ. In 2015, then Attorney General Loretta Lynch attempted to address the problem as part of the Department of Justice National Guidance on Gender Bias in Law Enforcement Response to Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. One of the principles outlined in the guidance is to, quote, hold officers who commit sexual assault or domestic violence accountable, end quote. It seems highly unlikely this problem will be tackled by our current Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who has said he doesn't. And he's not there anymore. We have maybe even more of an authoritarian, honestly, William Barr. He thinks systemic problems in police departments basically don't exist. While the trial of the two NYPD detectives proceeds, state and local officials have begun to take action. Governor Andrew Cuomo last week announced a budget amendment that would remove the availability of the consent defense and prohibit sexual contact between police officers and those in their custody. A similar bill recently passed in the Assembly and await actions in the state Senate. Anybody from New York, I would love to hear if that did in fact happen. Current state law prohibits correction officers and probation officers from claiming consent when charged with sexual abuse of incarcerated. Indeed, you can't consent when you're in police custody. You can't consent when you're in jail, when you're in prison. There is a absolutely astronomical power imbalance. The police, the cops, the probation officers, correction officers, they have all of it. People in their custody have zero. It's pretty self-explanatory. The NYPD Civilian Complaint Review Board also voted last week to start investigating cases of sexual harassment and assault by officers. Looks gross, but it's good. Previously, these cases were referred to by the board to the department's Internal Affairs Bureau. This change, which should have been made long ago, is welcome. Allegations of sexual misconduct by officers should be subject to thorough and independent investigation. Indeed, not investigation by the police themselves. We see how well that fucking shit works out. AKA, it doesn't, ever. When officers use their authority to threaten the safety of those less powerful, the public needs to have ways to hold them accountable. Without this accountability, women will continue to pay every price. And then, again, it's just nuts that we have to have the conversation that it's not okay for cops in 35 states to rape people in their custody. Kind of nuts, right? Yes, it is.